Hey guys, it's Jacob again with Yeshua is Truth. We're still continuing on with our Is Jesus God series. This is going to be part 2. This one we're going to kind of go over kind of a topical thing. I mentioned in the last video that Jesus and God have some of the same characteristics. Well, all of the same characteristics, but same characteristics, same titles, same abilities for that matter. But we're going to go over just one of those in this video with a few verses to back it up. So if you go to, I'm just going to get right into it. If you go to Genesis 1:1, I think most of you know what that says, but I'm going to read it here. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Okay, so that's telling us God made everything. Okay, Psalms 8:3 says, "When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained." So the psalmist here is telling us that God made all that stuff. Okay, he's crediting God with making all that. We go to Psalms 19:1, we get a similar thing. It says, "To the chief musician, a psalm of David, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiworks." Again, he's giving God credit for making all this stuff, okay? All these things that we can see. Psalm 102:25, "Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands." Once again, God made everything, right? Okay. If we then look at Isaiah 42:5, okay? So I'm kind of giving you the Old Testament parts first here, okay? I got a couple in the New Testament. We're going to kind of compare them. So Isaiah 42:5, we have, "Thus saith God the Lord," which is in all caps. And if you know anything about that, anytime that Lord is all caps in like the King James Version and many different versions of the Bible, that is where it doesn't just say Lord, it actually says God's name, which we don't really know how to pronounce. It's Yahweh is the best that I can do, but that's not his name specifically, but it's YHWH, and then in the Hebrew letters, of course, that's something totally different. So, but it's the name that he gave Moses, which is interpreted, I am who I am, which kind of delves into his always existing and eternal side, and that he always will be. So anytime it's all caps Lord, that's what was in the original Hebrew text, okay? And the translators translated it just Lord, but it's all caps so that we know it's actually God's name, not just the title Lord, okay? So that's what's happening here in Isaiah 42:5. So it says, "Thus saith God the Lord," so the Yahweh, okay? "He that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein." So God, Yahweh, the Lord, made everything. Okay, that's what we have. Very clear there. That's what, 4 or 5 verses now where God made everything, right? And then we go over to Colossians 1:16. Okay? It says, "For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him." Verse 17, "And he is before all things, and by him all things consist." And then to be clear about who we're talking about, Colossians 1:18, it says, "And he is the head of the body of the church," which we know that it says that Christ is the head of the church, Jesus. Okay, so all those Old Testament references saying God made everything. Now we have Colossians saying Jesus made everything. Okay, if we go over to Hebrews 1, 7 through 12 roughly, okay, and they quote one of those Psalms that we just went over a bit here, but it says, "And of the angels," this is Hebrews 1:7, "and of the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire. But unto the Son," referring to Jesus, "he saith, Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom." So this is God speaking to Jesus and he's calling him God for one thing, so that kind of goes into what we're talking about. But he's also, so he's calling God, and he's saying, your throne is forever and ever, a scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity, therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. So now he's saying, he's calling him God, and then he's saying, your God has anointed you. Okay? And then he says, and thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thine hands. So now we have God telling Jesus that he laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of his hands, when we had back in, where was it? Psalm, it's one of these. Psalm 102:25. Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. But in Hebrews, God's telling us Jesus did it. So, which is it? Is it Jesus made everything, or God made everything? It can only be one or the other, or Jesus is God. Right? Or the Bible is completely inconsistent, and we shouldn't study it, which I'm not of that persuasion there. But so, and then if you keep reading in the Psalms, you go back to Psalms 102:25, it says, of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. They shall perish, but thou shalt endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment. As a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end. If we go back to Hebrews, where I got it here, he says the same thing. Go to Hebrews 1:10. He says, and thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands. They shall perish, but thou remainest, and they shall all wax old as doth a garment. And as a vesture thou shalt fold them up, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. So he's quoting Psalm. Psalm was in reference to God, and the author of Hebrews is quoting Psalms in reference to Jesus. Okay? So it's the same scripture. We're just being told that Jesus is who it's referring to now. Okay? So yeah, I mean, that's about all I've got for that. So what we're looking at is multiple references that say Jesus made everything. And there's more than that. I just didn't want to make this extremely long. And then several references that say God made everything. So the only way both those statements can be true is if Jesus is God. Okay? So there you go. They're both the creator of everything. That's this video. Jesus is the creator of all things, and God is the creator of all things. The only way that's true is Jesus is God. Again, it's just like before, you're 2 plus 2, One's the creator of everything, the other one's the creator of everything. They must be one, like Jesus said, I and my Father are one. They're the same, okay? That's all I got for this one. We got some more coming. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, give us a like, subscribe. We're going to have a lot more coming. Thanks for watching, and God bless.